Hello and welcome to the Go for Ball podcast. I'm Big Billy 42 here talking about some recent hot hitters, cold hitters, streaky guys that are trending up, guys that are trending down. So starting here at catcher, your top hitter over the past 30 days as far as batting average wise is going to be Derek Norris, but not a whole lot of production really outside of that series at Coors Field. He's batting .325, but still striking out 23% of the time, just 3.6% walk rate. His price still artificially inflated, I guess you could say, due to that Coors Field series, especially on FanDuel. So for me, still not a guy I'm targeting much. Francisco Cervelli right behind him. He's been a great cheap cash game option. Hitting at .316 over the past 30 days, 10% walk rate, doing well. But the guy who's been really hot, and this is more so the past week rather than the last month, Travis d'Arnaud. 5 homers, 14 runs scored, 13 RBI. Hitting for a Mets offense that has just been absolutely on fire. He's got a .289 ISO. And then you look right below him, another power hitting righty, and that's Wellington Castillo. 7 homers, 18 RBIs over the past 30 days with a .325 ISO. So you got to like that. And then you're looking at more power. Brian McCann, 8 home runs, 21 RBIs, batting .235 with a .333 ISO. This is a guy that was really struggling on the road for a while, but now, anytime he's facing a right-handed pitcher, anything but the elite of pitchers, he instantly becomes one of the best plays on the day. So he's the guy that's really, really locked in. Kyle Schwarber, another guy, hitting for a ton of power. .319 ISO, 9 homers, 25 runs scored, 24 RBIs. Batting just .223, but when you're playing Kyle Schwarber, you're not really playing it for the batting average. You're playing it for the power. Unfortunately, no longer catcher eligible on FanDuel, but you can still play him catcher or outfield on DraftKings, and really nobody that's struggling in a big way here as far as qualified catchers. Yan Gomes, I guess, but he does have 3 homers and 13 RBIs, batting just .198 with a .140 ISO. But, I mean, he's priced like a guy who has been producing at that level, so really not hurting too much with him. First base options here, you look over the last 30 days, and a couple of guys kind of cooled off, but Edwin Encarnacion did not. He is heating up. .385 batting average, .410 ISO over the last 30, 25 RBI, 7 home runs. I think those numbers are impressive, head and shoulders above the rest. They aren't. Looking right behind him, Travis Shaw, .325 batting average and .325 ISO, 7 home runs, 16 RBIs, 17 runs scored. This guy's really emerging for the Red Sox here. Got to look his way. And then Anthony Rizzo, 9 dongs, 25 RBIs, 20 runs, .347 ISO. Another guy just absolutely smashing the ball. And then, of course, over the last 30 days, more so in the first half of that 30 days, but Chris Davis still does have 11 home runs, 27 RBIs, and a .366 ISO over that span. Jose Abreu not far behind with 8 home runs, 21 RBI, .315 ISO. Both those guys very pricey options, but they're really starting to get it going. And then Ryan Howard's been priced cheaply recently, and while he's still striking out a ton, 28% of the time, batting .302 over the last 30 days, 3 homers and 18 RBIs. So I'm not saying he's a guy you give a look to every single night, but when facing a bad righty, certainly look his way a little bit here because he is nice and cheap. And then looking down towards the bottom here, Carlos Santana, all the way at the bottom, 4 homers, 18 RBIs, just a .219 batting average, .143 ISO. It's a guy that's just been okay, but not a guy you love. Adrian Gonzalez, another one of those guys, his price has been dropping, but just 3 homers, 13 RBIs, .120 ISO over last month. Pretty awful numbers for him. It's just showing 0 power. Albert Pujols, similar there. He's got 4 home runs over the past 30 days, but batting just .220 with a .140 ISO. I mean, if he's not finding the seats, he's not doing a whole lot of anything. So, one more guy to mention here, Paul Goldschmidt, just continues to do a little bit of everything. Batting just .260 with a .190 ISO, but 4 homers, 19 RBIs, 3 stolen bases. Still just continues to get it done. Night in and night out, even when he's not showing the upside that we're used to. Second base, I mean, these numbers are staggering here for Ian Kinsler, batting .404 over the past month with a .239 ISO. 4 home runs doesn't seem like much, but when you look at what he did earlier in the season, those numbers are actually pretty solid for Kinsler because he just was really struggling. No power, seemingly, at all at the beginning of the season. Now, obviously, Miguel Cabrera back. You got Victor Martinez healthy. Cespedes is gone, but this is, once again, a formidable offense, and Kinsler, I wouldn't say he's been leading the way, but he's been a force to be reckoned with over the past month. Rougned Odor has missed a couple days, but still just continues to rake, batting .345 with a .190 ISO. About the smallest walk rate you'll ever see at 1.2%. But this is the guy with some power. Been dropped in the lineup, been batting 7th or 8th, which you don't like, but definitely a guy with some upside at a mid-tier price tag. Ben Zobrist, another one of those guys, unfortunately, no longer second base eligible on FanDuel. He's been sent to the outfield. Both of those available on DraftKings, though. And he's got 4 home runs, 20 runs scored, and 343 batting average over the past month. So that's solid. Brandon Phillips even right behind him. Brandon Phillips, Daniel Murphy, Wilmer Flores, all similar numbers here. 339, 337, 333 respectively. Brandon Phillips has 7 stolen bases in the past month, which is tied for second most. DJ LeMahieu actually tied with him behind only D. Gordon among second basemen over the past month. So strangely enough, 2 guys who don't expect to steal a lot of bases have been swiping a ton. Speaking of D. Gordon, he is batting 315. Not much ISO, of course, but not striking out hardly at all. 8.5% is elite. I mean, to put that in perspective, I mean, you had Kinsler is only 6%, which is ridiculously good. D. Gordon has 12 steals. He did have 4 of those in one game, but certainly a guy you were looking at here. Looking all the way down at the bottom here, Brian Dozier continues to struggle, but hit for a little bit of power. 198 batting average. He does have 5 homers and 15 runs scored over the past month, but God has been really struggling. He's been priced like a guy who's been struggling, though, so I think he's still certainly worth a look. And then a couple other guys down here at the bottom. Neil Walker, a guy that I won't ever play from the right side, only when he's batting from the left side. 221 average and ISO, 4 home runs. He's not a bad option, but he's one of those guys that I wait until he's facing a bad righty to play him, especially because he's been dropped a lot of times. Down to 7th in that Pirates lineup. And I don't understand why, even against bad righties. But either way, when he's batting in the top of that order against a righty, I love him, but not so much otherwise. And then another guy, Anthony Rendon, his numbers for the month don't really look impressive, but starting to turn it on over the past week or so. 242 batting average. He's got 3 home runs, just 7 RBIs, but 12 runs scored. So that offense finally healthy, or they were at least. Now Denard's banned back on the DL, but everyone else finally healthy for that team. So I'm expecting them to score some more runs here in the second half. Shortstops here. Francisco Lindor, 385 batting average with 5 stolen bases, 2 homers, 16 runs over the past month. Still just a 125 ISO, but this is a guy that's actually been doing a little bit of everything, showing some power, some speed. Really been a spark plug for that Indians offense. It's been a really struggling offense. And then right behind him, an ex-Indian, Asdrubal Cabrera, a guy that I talk about all the time on the podcast. Batting 361 over the past month, 186 ISO. Just 3 home runs, but 19 runs scored, 12 RBIs. And this is a Rays offense that, outside of their dominance against lefties, really struggling against righties, but those are still very good numbers for him. And then a couple other guys near the top here. Jung Ho Kang still showing tons of power, 237 ISO, 280 batting average, 5 homers, 15 RBIs, and 14 runs over the past month. Ian Desmond, similar numbers there, just a 196 ISO, but 5 homers, 6 stolen bases, 16 RBIs, and 13 runs. He's been solid as well. And then as we look at the bottom, 3 spots from the bottom, Troy Tulowitzki, 21 runs scored, which you love, but you don't like the 110 ISO or the 210 batting average, or just the 3 home runs. The 8 RBIs, I guess, somewhat understandable because he is batting leadoff. But I mean, even the bottom of that order is producing. It's been Tulo that's been the weak part, so that's not good for him. Carlos Correa's down there, but still hitting for some power. 217 ISO, 6 homers, 15 RBI, and 6 stolen bases too. So that's not bad for him. And then right in the middle there, Johnny Peralta, the guy who was the darling of the week, wasn't really producing, but was in elite matchups, nearly men's salary on FanDuel. Struggled in just about all those matchups. Just 2 home runs, .091 ISO over the past month. I'm not saying he's in a void, but he's a guy that's just really not getting it done right now, even at that small price tag. Third base options, I mean, it's really not close here. It's Josh Donaldson, and it's everyone else. Donaldson batting .330 with 11 home runs, 34 RBI, 28 runs scored, a .420 ISO, and a 14.2% walk rate. The guy's just absolutely destroying the ball. It's not even fair, especially when he faces a lefty or faces anyone at home, really. Daniel Murphy, though, batting for a little bit higher of an average, .337, 240 ISO, 4 homers, 21 RBIs. Mentioned the Mets offense really getting it going. Murphy's been a big part of that recently. And then the old-timer, Adrian Beltre, up to .314 this month, 5 homers, 17 RBIs, 17 runs. Striking out just 8.8% of the time. That's what you're really looking for right there, especially at his price tag, making him a nice cash game play, always putting the ball in play. always batting at the heart of that order that is putting up some runs recently. Chris Bryant had a great month, still striking out a ton, 31.2% of the time, but a 280 ISO with 6 homers, 18 RBI, and runs scored. So he's a guy you can certainly be looking at moving forward. And then Chase Headley, for a guy with no power, just continues to produce. 283 batting average, does have 12 RBI and 11 runs scored over the past month. I mean, this is for a guy that bats usually about 7th in this order. So definitely a guy to keep on your radar there. Matt Carpenter, 9 home runs, 21 runs scored, 20 RBI over the past month, at 324 ISO, which, is second only to Josh Donaldson over the past month. Really impressive numbers for him. So he's turned from a cash game play into a borderline GPP upside play now at his price tag. So you got to like that. Todd Frazier continues to be too cheap and just continues to struggle. 2 home runs over his past 30 days, just 8 runs scored, 8 RBI. He's batted second, he's batted 5th, he's batted 4th, he's batted all over the place. Still not getting it done. A 130 ISO. I mean, he's a guy, I'm not saying you don't play him, but, I mean, he's you don't feel good about targeting him right now. And then Mike Moustakas, more so in the past 2 weeks, got a higher walk rate than strikeout rate, but a 247, batting average 258 ISO, 5 homers over the past 30 days. Certainly got to like him. And then looking all the way at the bottom here, Juan Uribe has been terrible as far as batting average, 158, but he's got 5 home runs. So, I mean, he's a guy that's got pop, and that's it. And then Jed Lowry down there, really, really struggling. No power, no batting average, just really a guy to avoid right now. Moving on to our final position here, outfield. We've got some big bats, of course, at the top. And if I told you that Michael Brantley finally had his breakout month, you'd be thrilled, and he did. 391 batting average, just 3 home runs, but 2 of those coming in one game, but 16 RBIs, 15 runs scored. This is the Michael Brantley we saw last year. We're excited to see him back, but now his price no longer cheap, obviously, due to his recent production. A.J. Pollock and David Peralta both right behind him. Peralta batting 382, Pollock 366. Both guys ISOs close to 200. Pollock with 10 stolen bases. Peralta with 21 RBIs. Both those guys doing a little bit of everything, so gotta love that. And Pollock is 8.3% strikeout rate. Is absolutely incredible. Gotta love that. And then Gregory Polanco just continues to be an incredible cash game play every game. 357 batting average, 5 stolen bases, 179 ISO even, 15 runs scored with 3 home runs. So he's right ahead of his teammate there, Andrew McCutchen, who's batting 355 with 6 homers, 20 runs scored, 21 RBIs in the past month. Gotta love that. Of course, Nelson Cruz. Goes without saying, 346 batting average, 430 ISO, 13 homers, 24 runs scored, and 21 RBI. He continues to be on fire. And then some other power guys near here. Yoenis Cespedes has been locked in, 297 ISO, 9 home runs, 26 RBI over the past 30 days. So he's been in a great spot. Jose Bautista has been doing it all. 10 homers, 24 RBI, or 24 runs scored, 21 RBI, 366 ISO, 287 batting average. That's what you're looking for. Bautista, his batting average was down there in the cellar over the course of the season for the longest time, but finally starting to turn around, hit for some power. He was never a concern that he was going to keep walking a ton because he's an elite at drawing walks, but now doing a little bit of everything. He even stole a couple bases this past month. So then you scroll all the way to the bottom, and we see some names you wouldn't expect to be down there. Carlos Gomez, 198 batting average, .094 ISO. Just 2 home runs. He does have 6 stolen bases, which is nice, but he's just barely ahead of Brett Gardner. Similar numbers, 194, .054 ISO. Just 1 home run, 3 stolen bases. Terrible for him. And then right below him, the worst outfielder over the past month as far as qualified hitters, Jay Bruce, batting 136, 117 ISO. He does have 3 stolen bases and 13 RBI, which is nice, but just 1 home run. You're not playing a guy like Jay Bruce to see him steal a couple bags. You're playing a guy like Jay Bruce, see power, and he has not been showing that. So hopefully this gives you a little good idea of what's going on recently. Find us on Twitter at DF Cafe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out all of our great content at dailyfantasycafe.com.